It is 10:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The round of 64 got underway yesterday, and Tennessee moved on with a 77-62 win over Wofford. Chaz Lanier with 29 points, hitting 6 3-pointers. They'll take on UCLA tomorrow night for a spot in the Sweet 16. Tip-off is scheduled for 8:40. You can hear the Vol Network call right here on The Zone. Round of 64 action picks back up today at 11:15 in the East region. 9-seed Baylor versus 8-seed Mississippi State. Two Nashville teams will take the court today. Lipscomb faces Iowa State at 12:30. Vanderbilt taking on St. Mary's at 2:30. You can hear all the NCAA tournament action right here on The Zone and all weekend long, courtesy of Westwood One. The Titans made a signing on Thursday in 29-year-old outside linebacker Lorenzo Carter. The former third-round pick out of Georgia had 7 sacks in the last 3 seasons combined with the Atlanta Falcons. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
I don't want to start the show with this music behind my voice. We're doing them on that quick of a turnaround now? I can't live this way.
Apparently.
Yes.
Who is it that's voicing that constipated
Who do you think?
open? That's you?
No. We hired someone.
There's no way. You can't afford to hire anybody.
We outsourced it.
To who?
We outsource everything around here.
You are not capable of outsourcing anything between the two of you.
We're capable of doing anything because I'm Triple B, so we can do whatever we want to.
Oh, yeah? You really want to flex your muscles today? Look at how many stains are on that sweatshirt?
A couple. There's something wrong with my washing machine. Listen, there's something up because I will wash my clothes and there'll just be random stains on them now. There is some oily going on in my washing machine, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about
grease from your inability to have the food that you are trying to eat get entirely into your mouth.
Now, sometimes I think detergent will stain your clothes.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like washing stuff is the wrong way to do it. Sometimes you should just wear it dirty.
Do you think the sweatshirt that he's wearing this morning is stained because it's too much detergent, do you?
Yes.
Just shower in it like Charles Barkley said he used to after games.
I'm telling you, were talking about food going into my mouth. The only thing I'm worried about right now is food coming out of my mouth because I am struggling.
I know. You went to Broadway last night, you sicko.
It wasn't my idea. I got wrangled into it with and it sounds like you're talking about a white trash reunion here, but my girlfriend's sister-in-law's sister is getting married. So the bachelorette party was here, and it was something.
Are you in the bridal party?
I am not. The bachelorette.
Then why were you at the bachelorette party?
The bachelor party is happening at the same time.
It's a joint situation.
And usually I'd be down for a joint situation. You know me, but in most cases, yes. But in this case, it was a show of craptacular proportionity.
Okay,
that's where I'm at this morning. Kind of like your Final Four pick.
Yeah, way to transition. Louisville banged me. That was so bad. Creighton advances and blows up my Final Four. I think for the most part, it was pretty much chalk yesterday. You had a couple of upsets. You had Drake blowing a big lead, but still finding a way to outlast Missouri. And then you had McNeese State, who has the most Cinderella vibes, probably, of anybody in the field. They upset Clemson. What do you make of the mighty Clemson Tigers out of the power conference that is the ACC this year? I think for a lot of people, it ended up being a day almost as expected. I think a lot of people, for example, had Arkansas over Kansas.
It was a crazy game.
Well, and I'm blanking on the Kansas player who had an Achilles injury that ended up having to go out. of that game. But ultimately, Arkansas advances, so it will be Cal and Rick Pitino in the second round of the tournament because, of course, St. John's made it through as well, and Tennessee pretty comfortably handled the mighty Terriers of Wofford and the ability to survive and advance. So it was a fun day of college basketball, not super upset heavy, but I would expect that there would be some fireworks today.
KJ Adams was the Kansas player that went out. Jonas Adu with 22 points. So we do get the Cal Pitino second round matchup. Look forward to asking Casey Alexander about that, Belmont head coach, coming up next to break these games down. Wasn't that upset heavy? McNeese over Clemson was one a lot of people had, I feel like. Will Wade, obviously a huge name, moving on to NC State. And I guess you could have looked at that one of two ways. Either McNeese would be distracted, they wouldn't be focused because their coach has one foot out the door, or they're playing for a spot on another team next year. They're playing for a spot maybe on NC State next year. And, man, they balled out in the first half. Clemson also just looked lifeless. 69-67, most misleading final of the first round. I guess credit Clemson for making it a game there late, but McNeese, 31-13 at the half, just all over Clemson early on out of the gates. And then Drake just smothering Mizzou, like Casey told us they can do, like Belmont knows well. But apart from that, 11-6 and the 12-5, had a couple knocking on the door late last night. Did you stay up for UNC Wilmington versus Texas Tech and UC San Diego, Michigan?
I fell asleep right before halftime.
Man, they came close. Both of those squads came close, but ultimately it was chalk. So that makes me think today is just going to be,
I hope so,
bat bleep crazy because it was a little bit chalky yesterday. And a lot of blowouts, too.
It was funny to hear, definitely a lot of blowouts later in the afternoon. It was funny to hear Will Wade in some press conference clips that were making the rounds refer to McNeese State as our school when he has already agreed to leave for another job at NC State. Love that.
No, what's funny is seeing Will Wade go from being the villain of the sport with strong-ass offer to this darling now because of his honesty and transparency, which credit where it's due. He's handled this transition extremely well. But everybody is, it's just funny seeing everybody loving the way Will Wade is handling all of this compared to how he was viewed just a couple of years ago.
And then for the Vols, it was a huge day from Chaz Lanier in his I didn't realize it was his first career tournament game, but I guess that makes sense.
Yep. North Florida never, if I'm not mistaken, never made it past the first round of the ASUN tournament when he was there.
77-62 is what they are able to get done in Lexington at Rupp Arena last night. 29 points from Chaz Lanier. He was electric from three in particular, the third player in program history to score 29 or more points in an NCAA tournament game. Zakai Ziegler, also great yesterday. He had a double-double. I think he's like one of 6 players in the last 50 years to have a double-double and not have a turnover.
Yeah, crazy. 12 points, 12 assists. He is now the all-time assist leader in Tennessee men's hoops history after already securing the all-time steals leader tag before the tournament.
Fun day of basketball. Looking forward to another one. Again, we're only on for an hour today, and Casey Alexander is going to join us here in just a little bit, and we'll get his analysis of what we saw from the first half of the first round and into day 2. Titans also made a signing. Lorenzo Carter, former third-round pick out of Georgia. He's been with the Giants. He's been with the Falcons. He's a depth piece. He's not a starter based on what he's been able to provide in other places, but you do need bodies. You do need rotational depth there, and that is what he brings to the table. That is, though, the 10th free agent that they've signed. So a good chunk of the roster now taking shape here with what they've cleared out and what they've since added with an emphasis on the trenches, which is what they've said was going to be their approach the entire time. The other part of Titans/local sports-related news is that Bill Lee was here yesterday, and he took the same tour. Is it funny that you and I got a tour of the new Nissan Stadium before the governor?
I'm surprised we didn't get it with the governor.
Why do you think that we deserve to be on the gubernatorial tour of Nissan Stadium with a police escort and things like that?
Hey, is that not how people view us?
That's how I view myself. You know that well. But Billy was at the new Nissan Stadium yesterday to take in the sights and the sounds of what is a real, any kind of construction project of that scale. It's the first one I've ever been to or seen. And it's just impressive. It's impressive to take in. I'm sure many people who work in the construction industry or work in commercial real estate or things like that have seen similar things. But for me, that was my first time, and I was really impressed by it. Billy, equally so, and came in here yesterday, did media after the fact, and put out a statement on Twitter. Today, I joined at Titans Leadership to see progress on the new Nissan Stadium. This world-class facility will make Tennessee the top destination for the nation's biggest events, from the Super Bowl to the Final Four and beyond. He went on to say that he would like to see, of course, the new Nissan Stadium host the Super Bowl, but he's pushing for 2029, which the reporting around 2029 is that Vegas is favored to land it right now. That would put Vegas on every 5-year track for the Super Bowl, and Nashville trying to nudge their way in, because it would be unconventional for a club to open a stadium and not be able to host a Super Bowl there within the 2 years of its opening.
I actually pulled some interesting audio from him if you guys wanted to hear it, his thoughts on the stadium.
Wow.
He's talked all over it.
You
Wow.
did.
Now Lucas.
No, I did.
Are y'all going to talk?
Go ahead.
Wow.
Play it. Sorry, one more time.
Wow.
I guess I'm not hearing it.
I get that.
He said, wow. It was actually Coach Mack.
Shut
It was
up.
a dumb joke.
Are you going to contribute anything today other than look disheveled? Like, normally Lucas comes in here with his hair strewn, or, for some reason he always looks like
patently
he's been
false.
standing in front of the wind.
That's true. It's just my hair.
It's just comes in like he's been blown sideways before.
I'm jealous. Wish I got to come in here looking like that. Wish somebody do that to me now.
Let's get out of here.
Also, by the way, Grace is wondering why there are cigarettes in my car. How did you get cigarettes into my car?
I knew I had a pack. Are they still in your car?
There is one lone cigarette in my car.
Yeah! I'm back, baby. We're so back. Let's go.
Casey Alexander, Belmont men's basketball coach, is back with us as our tournament analyst next.
Wow.
Will I have enough money when I retire? When should I draw from Social Security? If these questions are keeping you and Coach Mack up at night, let me introduce you to a team that's there to keep you on the right track and guide you through it. That's Trajan Wealth. Trajan Wealth, not just any financial firm. They are your partners in securing your financial future. They're more than just a fiduciary firm. They are a family-owned, veteran-led team that puts your needs first. Let their decades of experience specializing in retirement planning and wealth management work for you. Trajan Wealth offers free consultations to help you develop your plan and your peace of mind. So call them today at 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000, or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement.
The boys 4A Final Four was set in stone yesterday afternoon at the Murphy Center. Good morning. I'm Lucas Panzica. On one semifinal, it is Bradley Central versus Hillsboro. The Burros defeated Maryville 53-47. The other semifinal will be Oak Ridge taking on Whitehaven, who beat Independence yesterday 40-36. There is one game in progress now. Boys Class 1A semifinal. Chattanooga Prep and Humboldt are tied up at 24 at the half. The winner moves on to the state championship to face either Hillcrest or Wayne County. Designated drivers are the real MVP. If you've been drinking, pass your keys to a sober friend. Fans, don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security. Tune in to 104.5 The Zone for all the Hoops Madness coverage, sponsored by Shoney's. Always fresh, always delicious. Shoney's, let's eat.
Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. If you are settling in for the second day of tournament action, you should order Hattie B's via the mobile app or check out a Hattie B's location nearest you. They have a full bar, they have TVs, they have hot chicken. What more could you possibly ask for at the most wonderful time of the year? Casey Alexander, Belmont men's basketball coach, joins us now. He has unfortunately been relegated for another year as our tournament analyst, but that's great because we appreciate having him around here to make us smarter about the game. Casey, we've talked to you about making brackets, and I know you make some with a degree of attention, but was there anything did you make one this year, and was there any major upsets in your bracket yesterday?
I did make a bracket, mostly because we have a family competition, myself, my wife, and my 3 kids. Was there anything that struck me as unusually upsetting? Not really. I think the tournament held true to form. You're always going to have an upset or two as far as the seeds are concerned, but I think it was a pretty status quo day, really.
A lot of people, I mean, by seeding, Drake was an upset, but they handled Missouri pretty comfortably. I know they blew the large lead that they had for the majority of that game, and obviously that's a program that you're very familiar with in the Missouri Valley Conference. The way that Drake was able to handle Mizzou and the way that Missouri plays, how much of that was expected based on what you know them to be?
Yeah, I was really interested to see how that game was going to play out, just because Missouri is so athletic and talented and loves to pressure defensively. Drake is the slowest tempo team in the country, literally. So it was really a clash of style. The Drake that I saw last night was the Drake that I saw all season long. They didn't skip a beat. They ran their offense and they played the way that they play. And if they can do that, they can beat anybody in the field, literally anybody in the field, because it's just such an unusual game. The teams that have given Drake trouble down the stretch were the teams that chose not to guard their non-shooters and really pack the paint. But Missouri stuck to their style. They decided we're going to be who we are. And therefore, Drake was able to take advantage of that.
Casey Alexander here with us on 104.5 The Zone, talking a little March Madness before day 2 gets underway.
By the way, shout out to Belmont's women's hoops team who defeated MTSU yesterday, 64-51 in the WBIT. They're going to play Northern Arizona on Sunday in the second round. So a lot of mid-state hoops going on outside of the men's NCAA tournament. Coach, Tennessee last night, Chaz Lanier, obviously 6 threes. If that's the Chaz Lanier we get in the big dance, Tennessee can make a deep run. You tell me if I'm overreacting, though, at my concern at Tennessee's lack of ability to dominate the boards against the Terriers, tied on rebounds 31-31, and they're going up against a UCLA team that can be pretty good around the rim. I mean, how much of a concern would that be for you, and what do you think about this matchup tomorrow night against Mick Cronin and UCLA?
Yeah, I think the rebounding margin is an outlier to some degree. I mean, Wofford's a team that shoots a lot of threes. There's going to be a lot of long rebounds. The game really never had the kind of flow that Tennessee wants. Lanier did his thing, and I think that's going to be really important for them every game moving forward. When he does not do his thing, I think they got to watch out. They've got to have his offensive input. UCLA being a good example. UCLA hangs their hat on the defensive end. When they are their best, they're good defensively. And so I think all of us know that you can count on Tennessee as far as physicality, being great defensively, usually winning the rebounding battle. It's how many of the games during this tournament can they win when their offense is not at its best, and will they survive that?
A lot of blowouts on day one, some really impressive performances. McNeese State obviously comes to mind with Will Wade and everything surrounding him going to NC State after the tournament. But to you, from a coach's perspective, who had the most impressive performance from day one?
Well, I'll answer that while answering Buck's first question at the same time. McNeese is easily the one that deserves the most attention from the way that the game went. I mean, it's one thing to win the game, a 12 seed over a 5 seed, but I mean, to have a commanding 31-13 lead at the break and really dominate the game until the last 5 minutes. I don't think any of us saw that coming. McNeese has had a great year. Will Wade is an exceptional coach. They've got a talent-laden, high-major roster on their team. But they play in the Southland Conference, which is one of the worst in the country, and they have not been tested in a long time. So for them to beat an incredibly solid Clemson team that's won a lot of games over the last 2 years, and the way in which they did it was the most impressive part of the day.
Well, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because just going off of what we talked about with Drake and Mizzou, and you saying, Mizzou chose to stick with their playing style to try and gut it out and stick to their core principles and keys. For McNeese, I saw that the broadcast noted yesterday, Casey, that they played a 2-3 zone for the first time this season, and Clemson really didn't know how to handle it as well. I think they ended up shooting like 20 or 21% in the first half, and that's kind of a testament to the ability of a team and a coaching staff to adapt rather than show all your cards and just be like, all right, this is who we are. This is how we're going to play. This is how we're going to try and get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's a McNeese has been finished for a while, and nobody knows who you're going to play until Selection Sunday. It's a quick turnaround and so forth. But I think I saw where they had played 7 possessions of zone throughout the entire season. So over the course of 34 games, probably 7 total possessions. And then for them to open the game with a zone and play that much zone throughout the game, clearly it was a surprise for Clemson. It's not as if Clemson has never played a zone before, but you just don't walk into that moment. And all of a sudden, you're making adjustments from the opening tip, and it just took them so long to recover.
Coach, how does Lipscomb do it today against Iowa State if they're going to pull off this 14-3 upset?
Yeah, you know the formula for this. It's one media timeout at a time. They just literally have to stay in the game. Got to keep the margins close, build confidence as the game goes along. And then if they get at that 8-minute media timeout, and especially the 4-minute media timeout, because of their experience, the number of players that have been in that program for as long as they have, their belief, their semifinal game in the ASUN and the finals of the ASUN were won during that last stretch with those experienced guys making big plays. I mean, that's easily the formula. I don't think they're going to walk in there and blow them out. So staying in the game and finding a way to win in the end is the formula that I see for them.
As far as just the day 2 games go, the styles that these different teams bring to the table, the different coaches, obviously, is there one matchup that you're particularly intrigued by?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I'm excited about all of them. I'm anxious to see what North Carolina does after their great showing the other day. I think those North Carolina and Ole Miss are 2 very talented teams. I think they're very similar, and so I really want to see kind of what the follow-up looks like for the Tar Heels after getting so much scrutiny when they got in the tournament. I think the Vanderbilt-St. Mary's game is that's for local interest, of course, but it's an intriguing game to me. St. Mary's is similar to Drake in a sense that they are so slow tempo, kind of hard to watch, honestly. And Vanderbilt has kind of made their way by being dynamic offensively all season long. So, which style is going to win out in that game is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for North Carolina, to your point, they came out swinging in the first 4 in-game, and we'll see what ends up happening with them in the tournament. But it just seems like I don't know how long they can go about it trying to lean that heavily on R.J. Davis, Coach.
Well, I mean, it's kind of it's same but different as Tennessee and Lanier. I mean, Tennessee has more pieces, but R.J. Davis has to be really good for North Carolina to be really good moving forward in the tournament. And I don't disagree with you at all in a sense that I would question whether or not he can sustain that level of play.
He's Casey Alexander, Belmont men's hoops coach. He's kind enough to join us here to break down the bracket on 104.5 The Zone.
Coach, how do you view this Duke team with Cooper Flagg and that injury, an ankle sprain? They say he's going to go, but it feels like it's something that's hard to gauge right now, just how close to 100% he'll be and how this team will operate if he has to leave for a spell or for a game.
Yeah, I don't think today it's going to matter against Mount St. Mary's, and we're going to learn a lot about, is he really 100% or is he a little gimpy or does he re-injure it? They are his absence. If you look at the elite teams or the top 10 or however many we legitimately think can win the national championship, removing him from their team is a devastating blow. If that's what it comes to, and not even removing him entirely, but if he cannot be his true self and kind of the dominant guy on that roster, then Duke's going to struggle, as most teams do when their best players hurt.
I want to ask you a question about my new basketball coach, who yesterday went up to a podium and talked about the contact that he and Indiana had during West Virginia's season yesterday. I guess just assuming that they were safe and free and clear from any kind of tampering allegations that might come down. But as a coach, when you hear something like that, Casey, and react to it however you want to, how does that land on you? Because for West Virginia fans, they're livid. For me, I'm pissed that he would say something like that in front of microphones. But as a coach, how do you kind of take something like that in? Because we know these things happen, but it's another thing to admit them.
Yeah, first of all, let me say this. Darren DeVries is a great basketball coach. He was the coach at Drake our first 2 years in the league and before this past season at West Virginia. And so you've got a great coach, and he's going to bring a really good player and his son, Tucker DeVries, with him. How do I feel about that? I mean, I don't think it's Hey, people were praising Will Wade for acknowledging the fact that he's going to NC State. The only difference in what Darren DeVries is doing compared to Will Wade is he's acknowledging the fact that it happened after the fact. But this, we all know this goes on. It goes on with every coaching search every year. And it's just kind of the way that business has to be done. It may not be direct contact from school to coach. It almost never is, but school to agent is the way that usually manifests itself over time. They're not going. Indiana has known for a long time that they were making a coaching change. They're not waiting until everybody's season is over to see what the market looks like. They're trying to find their coach as soon as they can, especially in today's world where the transfer portal, which opens on Monday, is so vital.
I just imagine some SID yelling, "No, don't say that out loud," while he's, talking at the podium. But I understand.
Fair question. Totally fair question, to ask. But he could have left that unsaid and avoided a lot of controversy.
Reminds me of John Calipari holding a press conference with Kentucky's athletic director and then quickly turning around and going to Arkansas.
We got that Tyson chicken money, baby. He got out of there.
And speaking of which, Arkansas won one of the better games of day one yesterday over Kansas. So we do get the Cal versus Pitino matchup that we wanted, Casey. I mean, we're all going to be watching for the pre and post game handshakes. Obviously, we hope it's a good game. St. John certainly will be a favorite. But for you as a basketball coach, what will you be watching for in that clash of styles between two obviously very familiar foes?
Yeah, so much talent on the floor with these two rosters. I think the personal side of it will be minimalized a lot more than what you guys would ever imagine. But I think it's two teams that are playing really well. Obviously, St. John's has had a great season from start to finish, but Arkansas in the last 3 or 4 weeks has been so much more what we anticipated they could be. And so I just think it's going to be a great game, much like the game with Arkansas and Kansas was yesterday. For me, if you're looking for something strategic, it's can Arkansas handle the pressure that St. John's wants to put on the Arkansas guards in a full court setting? How will they adapt to that? And will they thrive by getting some easy buckets, or will they surrender a little bit and kind of be out of sorts?
You got to at least let us imagine a world where they make the personal storylines a little bit more of a front facing scenario. Casey, I just want more hate in college sports. I enjoy it.
Well, it's definitely a long line of hey, there's no way it's a coincidence that these two guys are playing each other in this round. It just I can't imagine that the bracket just flowed that way.
He's Casey Alexander. He's kind enough to make some time for us to break down the bracket on this Friday. Coach, always good to chat with you, and enjoy the rest of the hoops this weekend.
I'll be back. Keep asking. Thanks.
That's Casey Alexander with us on 104.5 The Zone. At some point, he's going to say, "No, don't call me anymore."
Please stop.
Stop calling me. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Would that not bother you?
If we kept asking to join the show and take time out of my day, it would bother me greatly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I inconveniencing you?
No, go ahead with your question.
He's so quick with that, Bert. He just stuck me in the side of the neck with that.
If I'm
just trying to transition seamlessly into actual college basketball content and conversation, and he just takes me out.
You're the one who is perpetually bothered by other people needing things. So I think he was just giving you a taste of your own medicine.
When am I bothered by other people needing things?
Well, how dare someone breathe around me?
How dare my parents request that I visit them this weekend? You are beside yourself that you have to go see.
Off-air conversation to on-air.
Your lovely mother.
Wrong what you just did to me.
He's transforming into you. He has hung out with you enough that and anything that happens off-air is going to be on air.
Well, I told you, that's how the cycle will be fully complete. He will become what he hates, which is me eventually. When
he starts bringing a really crappy stash in here, then we know.
Yeah, we'll know. That's the final boss.
Wish you had my facial hair. Wish. Anyway,
I don't want to be on a list somewhere.
Were a fan of a program. What are you laughing about? If you were a fan of a program and your coach told you that he was there to build the program, and then after the season was over, left for a better job. Then, when he's being announced at his better job, starts talking about the fact that he was actively tampered with during the season by the program that now employs him, leaving you in the dust to think that he was going to be there for at least the foreseeable future to help you actually build something.
Well, Lane Kiffin flashed through my mind when you started that question.
For sure.
But that was something that developed very, very quickly. Kiffin was not at the top of USC's list, right? They had to kind of work down to him, and then it all happened very fast. But yeah, if I'm a West Virginia, West Virginia, talk about a couple of body blows after a pretty good season. Oh, man, you get snubbed, not getting into the NCAA tournament. Your coach gets scooped up by a blue blood, and now he's saying that they were. But this is the thing. I mean, this happens.
No, I know. But I see some, like Bryce on YouTube says every new coach gets announced the day after their season is over. So amazing how many coaches' agents work out a deal in less than 24 hours. Ha, 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 ha. Wake up, West Virginia, and quit crying. No, I think it's okay for West Virginia to be pissed about that. Like, I get that. That's how it's done. It's like legal tampering versus free agency. When does free agency start? 2 days after we know all of the deals and all of the different players and where they're going to land in the NFL. You can acknowledge its existence and still not like it.
But when it's such a step up in program like that, I understand it's power conference team to power conference team.
Step up in program. And I mean, just from a resources standpoint, that's the only reason, and that matters the most. But I mean, Indiana basketball, it breaks my heart. They don't matter anymore.
No, it's fair. But Indiana basketball, no matter how bad Indiana basketball is a better job than West Virginia basketball. That's just what it is. It's a better conference. It's a higher paying job, more resources, more history, more tools to be able to win and win big, all of those things. So, maybe I'm just talking because I don't know how West Virginia fans feel, but they did flame out of the Big 12 tournament. So if they feel like it had an impact on how the team played down the stretch, then okay, maybe they've got something.
Last call for phone calls. I love these shows. We will continue to talk about the bracket coming up next. We'll update some polls. We'll get out of here for the day. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help guys deal with misconceptions, because there are a lot of misconceptions out there about getting ED treatment. The Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped guys for over a decade plus here in Middle Tennessee, making sure that they get the proper treatment that they need for their individual situations, not a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter approach. The Tennessee Men's Clinic specializes in men's sexual health issues. It's all they do. It makes them the experts in the field, and they have a variety of different protocols and options to treat ED based on your specific needs and what's going on in your body. So don't trust your health to an online pharmacy and don't feel like you're out of options. We want you to understand all the available options that you have at your disposal at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and that their their protocols are patient-centered and customized to your needs. They have treatments for everything from low testosterone to ED, treatments that increase size, stamina, and everything else in between. So schedule an appointment online today at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com for their Franklin or Midtown location, or call them 615-208-9090.
Fourth quarter action at the Murphy Center, and the boys 1A semifinal is coming to a close. 4:49 remaining, and Chattanooga Prep leads Humboldt 48-41. If Chattanooga Prep can hang on, they will move on to the 1A state championship game Saturday morning to face either Hillcrest or Wayne County. That game will tip off coming up in about 25 minutes. Drunk driving is the ultimate form of unsportsmanlike conduct. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security. Tune in to 104.5 The Zone all day for the Hoops Madness coverage, sponsored by Shoney's. At Shoney's, find all your favorite things and more. Head in today for a delicious meal at any one of Shoney's Middle Tennessee locations: Clarksville, Dixon, Lebanon, and on Donaldson Pike in Nashville. All right, we've had 3 days, technically, of NCAA tournament action, and so far, the SEC is 4-3. If you count the first 4 in Texas crashing out, giving up a second-half lead and a loss to Xavier. So that means 11 SEC teams remain in the NCAA tournament. We had Georgia getting dog-walked yesterday by Gonzaga. This game was kind of like that Clemson-McNeese game, but the difference being Clemson made it interesting in the second half. Georgia was down, I think it was 24-3 at one point in this game. Georgia, at one point in this game, was on pace to score 12 points over 40 minutes. They were demolished. 89-68, the final, Gonzaga over Georgia. Gonzaga, obviously a team that knows how to win in the NCAA tournament, even when they're not at their best under Mark Few. So that makes me look at this UConn-Oklahoma matchup. And Dan Hurley, who does not have his best team, the back-to-back defending national champs, going up against Oklahoma. An Oklahoma team that I kind of had a hard time figuring out this past season. Undefeated in the non-conference slate, not a particularly difficult non-conference slate, but they kind of struggle through the SEC campaign, end up a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament. They've got some talent. They've got some quality wins. Can they get it done against UConn in Raleigh, North Carolina? I say no.
That's an interesting game.
I can't hear you.
That's what you get for cutting spots in the break. How dare you?
Doing my
How
job.
dare you?
So how do
You
you
gonna
guys
make it back there?
You
You have
Home stretch.
14 more minutes, less than that.
it's always easy to point out when the greats make mistakes.
That's true.
It's always easy to go, well, if Mark Andrews would have caught that 2-point conversion.
So
you know
true.
what? This is how Mark must have felt.
I'm sorry, did you not just get an entire day of people celebrating you for how impressed they were with your corporate presentations, and then for you to crash out this hard the next day because you can't handle success? You are the Titans after the Washington game, after the Texans game, rather.
I do.
Getting smacked around by the Washington Commanders.
I do want to see how you feel about
What word did you just try to use?
feel. I used it. Leave me alone, damn it. I want to know how you feel about your bracket being crushed, about Louisville letting you down.
The same way I feel every year. This is what it is in March.
Lucas, how do you feel that the SEC is standing tall right now with the ACC losing 2 teams already?
I got to say, I'm pretty confident. Oh, what is this?
I hate this so much. And I came here for one reason. I came to chew bubble gum and talk crap about SEC teams, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Hijacked.
I want to know you guys, or let you guys know something real quick. Just because the ACC has already had 2 teams eliminated does not mean they cannot still be the most successful conference in college basketball this season. And I'll let you know how they're going to do it. When the ACC wins the whole thing behind Duke, all it takes is one. It just takes one team to go in, steal it out from underneath the powerful. This is a game of James and the Giant Peach. This is a game of what's the story about the magic beans? Who's got
Jack and the Beanstalk?
This is Jack and the Beanstalk.
Most people would just use David and Goliath.
No, but not me, not the ACC truther. See, Duke is Jack. Jack's climbing that beanstalk. He's going up there trying to get to the top of the mountain. And who's up there? Fee-fi-fo, fumming it around. Is the SEC. He's going to, 1, get some more magic beans. He's going to, 2, get the golden goose, which is the NCAA championship. And
is that the same story?
yeah, the golden goose. When he's up there, the Giants got that goose that lays golden eggs. Which, by the way, the worst animal's
literature.
eggs to eat. Yeah, who wants a goose egg? It's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
No one wants a goose egg.
Come on, Aesop. Is that Aesop?
No, not Aesop. And it's Aesop's Fables. No.
Aesop?
You're trying to. Hey, y'all stop.
Make him Aesop Rocky.
Aesop. All right, we got another moment of stupidity very easily there. And when the SEC sets the record for most teams eliminated from the NCAA tournament this weekend, I want y'all to remember who told y'all first. That the ACC may be down, but they're never out.
Why are you an ACC truther? ECU is not in the ACC.
But he's from ACC country.
Lucas needed a foil. He needed someone to stand opposite of him.
So the most irritating part about that segment, and there were many, it's Lucas's voice on that.
That's not me. It's not me.
It's so bad.
It's the worst thing we have ever done.
It's the combination of whatever that rights-free music is and Lucas's fake broadcaster voice.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Cooper Flagg is going to need some magic beans to be 100% in this tournament.
Oh, God.
There's plenty of people that would love to climb his beanstalk.
Okay.
NBA teams. You guys are always making it weird. Y'all are always, and I'm tired of it. This is a family-friendly program.
No, it's not.
You need. Oh, okay. Well, then
that's why
that's exactly how I meant it. There.
So we couldn't offend people as they drive their children to school in the morning.
What about the homeschooled kids?
Oh, I don't think about.
Well, they can't get on YouTube anyway, so who needs them?
There is significant injury news, not for Cooper Flagg, but in the SEC. Bama's Grant Nelson is available today for Alabama's game against Robert Morris, but he will not start, according to Nate Oates. The quote from Oates was, "We're going to see how he feels after warmups." That could be a significant development for one of the, I'd say, 4 teams that the SEC feels like could carry the banner on the way to a national championship, 2-seed Alabama. Nelson averages nearly 12 points and over 7 rebounds per game. A very significant player for the Tide. And Vanderbilt against St. Mary's. I mean, this season to me is a success no matter what, right? For Vanderbilt, getting to the tournament, that turnaround.
Yeah, for sure.
For
as futile as they were under Jerry Stackhouse, who was trying to run that thing like an NBA program, essentially. Yeah. This is an accomplishment for Vandy. Now you have to build upon it. Like Mark Byington has set a pretty high floor here for that program. So we're going to come into next season, however long this plays out for Vanderbilt. We're going to come in here with some reasonably high expectations, and I think that's fair.
I agree. And I agree with Casey Alexander. That Ole Miss North Carolina matchup is so intriguing now. There's still just all the discussion around UNC, the way they routed San Diego State in the first 4. RJ Davis, unstoppable in that game. Ole Miss is a good team. Ole Miss is a well-rounded team. A lot of transfers with NCAA tournament experience on that team as well. And as we know, well-coached with Chris Beard on the sideline. So that's the 11-6 matchup happening at 3:05. Of course, you can hear all the action right here, courtesy of Westwood One. Did you get a chance to listen to any of it yesterday?
on
the
air?
Zone? Yeah.
No, I watched it on TV yesterday.
It's electric. I mean, they're
Actually, no, I heard it on the way home. Who's the play-by-play guy?
Well, they're obviously bouncing around. Ted Emmerich, Chris Carino, Kevin Kugler. I mean, they gather the best basketball radio play-by-play guys, in my opinion, in the world, and I'll put them in this tournament, and they just whip around like Red Zone on the radio. It is electric. Like listening to the first half of that Louisville-Creighton game, which was fireworks initially before Creighton pulled away. Oh, man, it was a true marches back moment.
I caught about 15 minutes of less than 15 minutes of it on my drive home from work, and it's captivating the entire way through. I was also delighted to find out that HBO has a Red Zone view or the March Madness app. You can get the March Madness app
Fast
on
break,
the Red Zone view or the HBO app, and it was excellent. It had me captivated the entire time. Are you coming to the microphone to admit that the Golden Goose is not a part of Jack and the Beanstalk?
That's wrong as hell. Who said that?
Somebody
internet.
in the FNM Bank
No,
chat.
the internet. I verified.
No.
I've come to the microphone
Where is
with
the Golden
facts.
Goose from?
It is from the Brothers Grimm story called The Goose That Laid the Golden Eggs.
It's also an Italian luxury lifestyle fashion brand founded in Venice.
That adds up.
That's not true. Jack, who is driven to poverty, sells his cows for magic beans. The golden goose inside the castle. Jack encounters the goose that lays the golden eggs and steals it, brings it back to his mother, and they are now rich thanks to the golden eggs, and they live happily ever after.
Yeah, that checks out.
You are being a Google truster right now.
He's right.
Why is the AI Google thing so wrong always?
It's you just can't
It's the
trust
dumbest version of AI.
Okay, before we run out of time, I want to pitch something for next week.
All right,
and if someone else has already done this, then I don't want to do it and I don't care anymore. I would like to do Starch Madness, where we find out the best way to eat potatoes. I will make a tournament of all different types of starches, all different types of ways, and we name the number one starch.
Okay, that's fine. But I have one condition.
Okay.
You have to eat it raw like you did that onion.
A potato?
Yes.
Have you ever ate a potato raw before?
Whatever the starch is. So if it ends up being corn, then you have to eat corn raw.
No, I think he's saying the bracket is strictly different
potato?
manners of eating potatoes.
Well,
right.
I was going to do I was going to steal Barstool's idea of Arch Madness, and we would take foot pictures of everyone that worked at the Zone and see who had the best arch in their foot.
I'm sure Dawn would have no objections to that.
Well,
at
I mean,
all.
Dawn, just because she would be a one seed, I think she would want to play along.
You don't know that.
What? You not your hairy ass toes.
I get pedicures. I don't know how often Dawn goes to get pedicures. I have no idea.
All right, we can talk this out over the weekend. Y'all want to do polls?
No,
We have one poll.
Yeah.
Someone in the FNM Bank chat, William, says the golden eggs are from Willy Wonka, I thought. Polls are presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Only one. What upset are you calling today? Jordan's going Colorado State over Memphis. Jack is riding with the Bisons. Lipscomb over Iowa State in a 14-3. Karen says Xavier over Illinois and New Mexico over Marquette. And Tennessee Dog with a bold one here. Bryant beating Michigan State in a 15-2.
No chance.
Yeah, no chance on that one. Go Bisons.
That's going to do it for us today and this week. Was a lot of fun. Enjoy the basketball next.
We've got the trucks, all the trucks, all the trims, all the towing, all the bells and whistles, and all at Truck Month Savings. Two Rivers Ford is Ford Truck Central.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.